Thank you for tuning into the Faceless Podcast. I go by the name of Shepherd. My friends call me Sheps. You could call me whatever you want. As long as it's not I, the likelihood is high that I'll respond. Now, I've had the pleasure, the honor of hosting my good friends Medina Talk Yabi. What we've effectively done is there was a Instagram post that was made by ZZ Mills, which we thought was pretty interesting. So we were just giving our thoughts around that topic. We'll call it, "What do you bring to the table?" For context purposes only, I will be playing that whole Instagram post. Do not flag me, please. I'm asking nicely. Or copyright me, because what's the point? What's the point? Now, you know the drill. Before we get into this, scroll up, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notifications bell. Let's get to 100. If you want this question and answer, let's get to 100. Let's get to 100 subscribers. We get this question and answer. Ask me whatever you like. I'll answer. Honestly, I promise. But yes, I hope you guys like this. I had a fantastic time recording this. What I'll probably do is pin a comment in the comment section. And if you want to see a long form discussion like this again with the Medina Talk Yabi crew, do just upvote that post. And we'll get into making some more topics. If there's some topics that you want us to touch on as well in that longer form, then do let me know as well. So for contest purposes, here's the clip, and we'll be addressing effectively what's being talked about in the clip as an overall topic. I hope you guys enjoy this. I enjoyed making it. Let's talk about it.
So I just put something on Twitter and I was talking about basically dating and women expecting men to pay but they ain't giving nothing in return. Now this doesn't mean sex. I'm not saying, oh, if you get taken on 5 dates and you have to give sex. No, I'm saying in life everything is about reciprocation, okay? You put something, you do something to someone, you want something in return, whether it's straight away or in the future. That's how life works. That's how you feel appreciated, okay? And what me and Lynn was just saying, my good friend Lynn here, you see it? What we was just saying was, a lot of women want to scream from the rooftop, oh, we need to abandon the patriarchal system. This is disgusting. Men this, men
boss
that.
Bitches, we are independent, all of that, yada, 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 yada.
But your whole dating life and what you want from the dating scene is based on the patriarchal system. You want the man to take you out. You want him to do this. You want him to do that.
And what do you have to give in return?
You want him to do all of these things because he is a man. You want him to pay because he is a man. So on one hand, you're crying about the patriarchal system. This is this. Women are this. We're that. And then you go on a date, but you want the man to in his patriarchal role. Make it make sense. So it's either when you're talking about you don't want to be a part of this patriarchal system, is you fuck off everything.
What do you have to give a man for him to want to invest in you? And your body dress and contour kit is not enough. That's not enough.
But that's only to the women that are so. I think, me personally, I'm very happy to play my gender role, and you know, so I expect a man to do certain things because I will do the things that I'm quote unquote supposed to do as well. But a lot of women, you want to be saying, let's fuck over gender roles, let's do this. But then when it comes to you doing your gender role, it's all stum. Nothing's happening.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Faceless Podcast. I go by the name of Shepherd. My friends call me Sheps. You could call me whatever you want. As long as it's not I'll most probably respond. Now, as you can see, already you can see it. Guys, you're going to go down in history as the first guest to come on the Faceless Podcast. I appreciate you guys for taking your time out with this. Faceless Podcast meets Medina Talk Yabi. And before I go any further into what we're going to be talking about today, I want to give them the opportunity to just introduce themselves. We'll start with Venice and then go on to Nana. So guys, take it away.
Okay, so my name's Venice from Medina Talk Yabi. Me and Mr. Yabi, we have a lovely channel together on Instagram. We just talk about real stuff. We battle it out, different discussions. And I'm here. Thank you so much, Sheps, for bringing us here. Your first guest. Yes, and I'm ready. So, yes. Uncle.
Yeah, guys, innit? My name is Nana. Yes, I am one half of Medina Talk Yabi. You can see my lovely co-host, Venice. Yes, and like I said, please continue to support what we're doing. Is Medina_talk_Yabby. We talk about anything and everything, and you get a different perspective. You get a man's perspective and a woman's perspective. But I've got to give a big shout out to the Faceless Podcast all day, every day. You have to make sure you tune into the Faceless Podcast all the time. But I'm gassed, man. Sheps, thank you so much for having us, man. Thank you, man.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you guys on. And again, guys, I want to recommend. So before we go any further, you already know the drill. Stop what you're doing right now. Scroll up, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that notifications bell. Now we could get into it. We message each other like we're friends, so we've been told that I've known Venice for ages. I've got the pleasure of just recently meeting Nana, but again, stand-up guy, and I've tuned into a few of their lives as well. Always interesting topics, which is why so through that we started speaking, and the collab had to happen. And what we want to talk about today, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know the three guys have seen it, but obviously some of the American guys, I don't know if you know who ZZ Mills is or if you've seen her comments. But obviously she's she does podcasts as well, media personality. She's done very well for herself. I've tuned into a few of her podcasts, and I like how she is balanced. She tries to give both perspective. We don't agree on everything, but yeah, I don't even agree on everything with my parents, so that's to be expected. Now let's talk about it. So this when we brought up this topic, we already knew what time it was going to be. So ZZ Mills, and I would have played the clip just before we've come in, guys. So ZZ Mills has got a clip where she said effectively, and I paraphrase, that guys up there, you're saying, girls, you're saying, let's get rid of the patriarchy, let's get rid of gender roles. But when you're now dating, searching for those guys, you want to do gender roles, you want to do patriarchy. So she's like, yo, which way do you want it? And to us, it was a good point, because you can't have it both. Like my mum would say, you can't have one leg in the house, one leg outside the house. That's what mum would say. So obviously, I know you guys have seen it. I want to throw it over to you guys first, and get your thoughts. Again, we'll start with Venice, and then we'll go with Nana, and then we'll just let it flow from there. So yeah, Venice, can we get your initial thoughts on that video that she made?
For me, I kind of agree with her. I feel like women have their roles, men have their roles, and for me, I'm the kind of woman that wants to stick like to my womanly role. That makes sense. So that whole, I get, we all, I think, women want to be independent. That's great, because some of us have to be independent, unfortunately, and stuff like that. But I feel like women should stop trying to be like men.
Wait, I'm not even cutting you off. So you see, when you say women have to be independent, some of them have to be. Go into that. Like, explain. Like, let's say, obviously, me and I know men, we don't know what's going on in the women's world. So break that down for us. All
right, cool. So a lot of women have to be independent, but I'm talking in perspective of like single parents. So, but that clip was like, that was about dating. So it's kind of different. But there are a lot of women and men, but more or less women, that have to take on that manly role as well to raise a child. So they have to be two parents. They have to be double one. Do you know what I mean? To able to raise a child. So they have to like be forced to like maybe work extra shifts and stuff and try to cover what the man would have done. Or do you know what I mean? And stuff. And probably like if they had a son, try and teach them how to be a man, but it's hard. Do you know what I mean? Because they're women. You can't teach a man how to be a man if you're a woman. So I thought, so that's when I say they have to, like, it's that pressure. Like some women have to play both roles. But in dating, I feel like for me, I'm with that whole patriarch thing. I can't lie to you. Like, I do want to be spoiled and stuff. I do want to be taken care of. If it's my man, of course I would take care of him and like, take him out on dates and stuff. But I do feel like I've been watching a lot of videos where women are like, there was a clip that I saw today, and she basically like was just bragging how she took him out, she picked him up, she did this, she did that. That's all great. That's awesome and stuff. Like, I would probably do one or two things like that, but I don't want to play no man's role. So no.
All right, cool.
I don't know why you're doing that, Nana. What's all
No,
of this?
no, do you know what is it? We're
Chicken.
gonna come back to it. We're gonna.
What's
This
all
is
of
just
that
initial
chicken, you
thoughts.
idiot?
Go on, Nana, take it away.
I feel
Give
like I'm
us
an
your
interview.
favorite.
You know what? You see, the thing is, yeah, me and Vinny some clash over this all the time, yeah. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm backing Zizi Mills all the way. She said it spot on here because I think the issue for me, or the thing for me, is that you see, when it comes to dating, yeah, the message that she put on her Twitter post, she went and said, you know, that sometimes it's also nice for it to be reciprocated. And I think when it comes to dating, like what women tend to do is that they tend to value that, oh, if a man spends money on me, that means he values me a lot more. And I think that you shouldn't be doing that. Dating is meant to be a two-way thing. I'm not saying as a man that when we go out and date, so we go out, that I'm not going to go and pay for you. That's not what my issue is. My whole thing is that it needs to be reciprocated. So there's nothing wrong with you going out on a date 5, 6, 7 days down the line, or say a third day down the line, and then a woman's like, you know what, actually, you've been taking me out. I'm gonna go and pay for this and this and this. It doesn't make you any less of a woman, and it doesn't make you any less of a man if a woman wants to contribute. But I think that a lot of women are doing, and some women are doing, is they're being kind of disingenuous. So they'll let a man take them out all the time, and they're not giving nothing back. And Zizi Mills said she's not talking about sex. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? I'm not saying as a man, oh, the end goal should be, oh, I take you out on 7 dates, bang, I'm gonna press you on the 8th day. No, but when you're going out and you can see that actually she's giving you what you're giving her, then you know it's genuine. But a lot of these women want men to take them out. You're letting these men rinse your money, and that's it. That's not right. So when you talk about the patriarchal system, you can't go and say, oh, when it comes to dating, yeah, I want to be patriarchal, but then you want to move the goalpost and be like, well, I want to be independent. I believe when it comes to dating or relationships, there's things that men can do that women do, and there's things that women do that men can do. That's the whole point of it being balanced. In certain kind of relationship or dating, it's about give and take. You can't just go and suck everything from someone and expect that you're not going to get anything in return. That's my whole thing. My whole thing is about principle, and I get criticized a lot because even in Medina Talk Yabby, people say, oh, well, Nana, you know, you're never going to spend. No, mine's not about spending. But if I'm going to invest my time into you, yeah, you've got to be giving me something back. Like I said, I could go out with someone and you can buy a pair of socks for me. The fact is, you had me in mind. That's what's important for me. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think Zizi Mills, she's my number one fan. So for me, she gets my support on that thing. Trust me, bro. She gets my support.
Is she your number one fan, or are you her number one fan, my brother? You're gonna have to clear that one up.
I'm her number one fan.
Okay, cool. I was about to say.
Yeah. I'm joking, but yeah, I'm a number one fan. Yeah, because she speaks the truth, and I think what she said, a lot of women don't like to hear what she says because she's talking about it being. It's like a seesaw, innit? Do you know what I mean? If the weight is too much, you're gonna go one or the other. What she's talking about is about having the balance, and that's what you need. And what she said, she's not wrong for what she said. She ain't. You know what I mean? So I think for me, she's right.
Yeah, and I mean to kind of give my perspective as well on it. I like, number one, I like what she says because the whole point of the Faceless podcast was diversity of thought, not diversity of skin tone. Like we're all black here, but we've got 3 different ways of thinking, and the reason why we do well, the reason why your lives have got people and it jumps off in the comments, is because it's not opposing, but different ways of thinking, and that's okay. We can think different. So the reason I rate her actually speaking out like that is because what she's saying, some people would say she's a sellout. She's completely sold out the females, that the gold diggers out there that just want to get everything bought. Like so some people say she sold that out, but then even looking at the history, when we're looking at chivalry, when we're looking at what we'd call traditional dating, the reason why the women used to get courted and all that, and correct me, someone in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong, is because back then women weren't working like that. It was the guy that was the breadwinner, the guy was making the money. So the reason why it was expected for the man to pay is because the man was making the money. So the reason why it was that, yeah, we'll take you out, and obviously doesn't mean there was no women that had no money back then, but then the reason why it was like a standard thing, it was because the man was making the money, you caught the female, and for lack of a better term, it was like the female was a prize, and then you go, you woo her, you make sure there was a lot of pressure on the guys. Obviously there's pressure on the girls as well, but you had to make the money, you had to have a way with words, you have to have a certain social standing for you to even be able to court women. But then, and the reason why I rate what Zizi said is because in 2020, this is the year of WAP, this is the year of everything equal. But then what I don't like, I always say that consistency, we need that same energy. So if you're going to say everything 50-50, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you do the dishes, Thursday, Friday, or whatever, I do the dishes, then it has to be 50-50 across the board. If you're going to go like what Vinny said and say, you know what, I don't mind the traditional gender roles, then yeah, her man will know, okay, cool, when I'm taking her out, then yeah, I'm taking her out and I'm paying. And obviously we've all had dating experiences and some good ones, some bad ones. And one thing that I actually want to bring up that we mentioned when we was kind of talking about this topic beforehand, wait, I've just completely lost my train of thought. You know what?
You can do it, Shep.
Completely lost my train of thought. But that's what it is. It happens sometimes. Oh yeah. So the one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up in terms of what's happening now with the double standards of girls wanting both. Like you're gonna say, look, the man has to pay. Effectively, what you've done is you've put a price on yourself. So now don't get mad when Mr. Billionaire, who's taking you Nobi or wherever it is, and you're thinking, yeah, he loves me because he spent £1,000 on a meal. These times it's daddy's money because daddy was working hard and he's a multi-millionaire. When he now treats you like an asset, when you're not getting treated, and I don't know how you'd feel. I don't know if you've ever had those experiences where guys that have money are taking you out, but you're arm candy. You're not Venice. You're a Birkin bag. Like you might go somewhere and you're this object, and that's because some of these girls that are trying to do both. And Zizi made it very clear. She wasn't talking about, okay, cool, if you get taken out, you have to give up. Well, you have to sleep with a person. It was more in terms of, if you want that gender roles, then stick to the gender roles. If you want this independency thing, then you're going to have to be 50-50, or you're going to have to be compromising in some ways. And I don't know, Venice, well, in your dating experience, have you actually, because I know you said you wanted the traditional gender roles thing, so you want to get taken out, you want to get rude. Have you actually come across guys that they've got the money, so them taking out don't mean they like you, but they've kind of treated you like the arm candy as a result of them saying that I'm spending all this money on you? Like, how's your dating experience been with regards to things like that?
Never, because I've never treated my dating experience, I never treated men like that anyway. So yeah, as a woman, I do like to get spoiled. But if someone's inviting me on a date, then that's you inviting me on a date. I've invited guys out, so I would pay. You get where I'm coming from? But if I'm dating you and you invite me out, then for me, you want to take me out, you want to please me, I don't know, spoil me or whatever. Don't get twisted. It's not that, I'm just going to take from you. No. There's like, when I was dating a guy for a whole year, and our first 2 dates, I took him out and drove him home. And that was fine because I wanted to do that because I asked him out. To get where I'm coming from? I've never had a guy that spent loads on. I would feel like uncomfortable if it's not my man. I would feel uncomfortable for a man that is not my boyfriend to spend X amount of money on me. I wouldn't like it. So I've never actually had to deal with that. So I can't even tell you because I've never really had like a wealthy man that I dated that was splash on me. No, I value more time than anything else, really. I'm a time person. So like the last guy that I was seeing, I took him bowling and I took him cinema. But more or less, we was there walking our dogs in the park or walking his dog in the park. Do you know what I mean? Or he'll come to my house and we watch movies. So for me, it's not about, I feel like when you talk about dating, it sounds like you guys are saying often. You can go on a date once a month, go cinema, and the man will pay for you to go cinema. That's like 12, 13, 14 pounds. Do you know what I mean? I feel like maybe Zizi's talking about those girls that want to go dates all the time, Hakistan every other week. Do you get where I'm coming from? And stuff. So if I lie, do you know what I mean? Or like they want lubes, or they want to go to Shard every weekend and clubbing and making their man buy tables and stuff like that. I've never had that experience, and I don't think I want to, because that's not the type of lifestyle I live. I live a very simple lifestyle. So for me, yeah, I never had that, ever.
You know what it is, yeah? I like that. Hold that thought, because what we're going to do, probably, I just thought of it now when we're rounding up, is to say some of our values. So from a dating perspective, so I think we all agree on the fact that it's not material that we're looking for, but then what some of your values. So do you hold that for? I want to come to you, my bro, Nana. I know you do well for yourself, young, successful black man in the business, fresh trim and all of that. You see me? Yeah, no, we're grinding. That's why we got a fresh trim.
That's it, man. Clear skin and everything, man. You know them ones there, bro.
That is
So,
too funny.
Plenty of water, guys. Yeah, just water. That's it every day. I'm telling you, man. No fizzy drinks and sweets. No Haribos. That's it, bro.
Yeah, that's why we got HTO here still.
Well.
Yeah, trying to take a leaf out your page. But yeah, so my question, I guess my question to you is, in your experience, in your dating experience, have you ever felt that pressure as a guy to say, you know what, for this girl to even feel slightly impressed or engaged by me, I have to take her out on the fancy dates. I have to kind of do that the traditional, but more on a materialistic thing. I don't know. How's your experience been?
Well, in terms of me, whenever I've gone and taken girls, I've never really felt that kind of pressure. I mean, where I think, say, like in my earlier days, and I felt that obviously I wasn't as creative, because before I'd always do the bog, not now, but say like my late teens, I'd always do the same bog standard things, cinema and all those sorts of things. It's only when I became older, I was like, you know what, you got to start stepping up your game, you know, be a bit more creative, because I think with women, the whole sit down date thing is nice, but a lot more are saying they want to do like activities and all, which is, you know what I mean? So I have to be a bit more creative. But the main thing for me that's quite core to me in terms of dating has always been for me about reciprocation, because I'm the sort of person whereby if I'm going to put in a lot, like not an expectation, but I'd like to kind of see that return to me. Do you know what I mean? So there's times whereby actually I've always put a lot in and then nothing's come out of it. So when I was younger, I'd be pissed off because it's like, raw, I'm spending all this money and then nothing's coming out of it. Now being older, it's more about the time that I'm spending with the individual. So it's not about wasting my money, but it's more about wasting my time, really, because it's like I'm putting all this time and effort into you, and actually you're not giving me, and it's not a relationship, you're just not giving me kind of like, it's more about kind of like the emotional kind of thing for me now. Do you know what I mean? Because that's where we're at now. I mean, we're all like late 20s. We're going to be going to our 30s. So for me, it's about the emotional stuff they're giving back to me. So that's why I'm quite hot on the whole reciprocation thing, because I've kind of felt whenever I've gone on dates, and it's not recently, but before, I've put so much in, and then actually in return, in terms of where I'm hoping for it to go, I haven't really got anything out of it, or if I've ended up being dropped, you know, or, you know, and then that's it, boom, like I've been dropped and then that's it. So I started becoming a bit more hardened, because like, you know what, actually, if I'm going to be doing all this effort, maybe I shouldn't. I've got to keep my cards a bit more closer to my chest. So in terms of what you were saying and what Zizi was saying, like I said before, mine is not about spending the money on any woman. It's never been about that. My thing is that if I'm seeing you, I like to feel the energy that I'm giving you, I'm also getting that back, because it keeps me honest. And it's like you said earlier, is that consistency from both parts, and it's about that balance. And when she said, and I think in her second tweet, she mentioned about that, you know, when a man sees that, he will be all in. And to be honest with you, men want that. We want consistency from women. We want a woman who's independent. You know, I'm not saying I don't want a woman who's independent, who hasn't got her shit together. No, I like a woman like that. But at the same time, if you're courting someone and you think you can go somewhere, give them something back. What you can't go and do is, you can't go and move the goalpost and be like, oh well, yeah, I'm independent, but oh yeah, well, I want to have my traditional view role when it comes to dating. You can't be going and do that, because life doesn't go and work that way. Do you know what I mean? Because if a man wants to go and take you out, and then actually, you know what, he says, well, I'm not paying, you'd be pissed off and be like, well, you're the man, you should be paying for me and all this and all that. But then if I was to go and turn around and be like, you know what, actually, I've taken you out X amount of times, when are you gonna actually come and be like, you know what, actually, I'm gonna go get the drinks? You'll still have a problem with it. So my thing is that you've got to balance your values, but at the same time, you also have to be balanced, and you need to also be fair. That's my thing. But yeah, Venice wants to go for it, because go on, Venice. Yeah.
Go on.
All right, so I just wanted to say, so I 100% agree with you. But you know, women that say they want to be independent, you also have to think about the life that they're coming from. So that also brings me back to what I was saying, where the mum or the father had to play two roles because the mum or the dad wasn't there. So they've probably grown up, let's just say the mother, growing up with it being, having a mum that's a single mum struggling. So that forces them to have to be independent. So yes, they want a man that can provide and everything, but just in case you need a plan B, everyone has a plan B if their plan A fails. So the dad runs off and they've got a child, at least they're independent, at least they've got their own shit going on. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I 100% get why women feel like they have to be independent, especially if they're raising children. Do you know what I mean? So I get where they have to want to have their own house and, you know, make X amount of money just in case, because it is a struggle when it's one parent. And I get where, so I'm on the fence. I get where she's coming from, but in respect to dating, I feel like you have to be one or another, if that makes sense. Like if you're in a relationship, I get why women want to be independent. But I feel like dating terms, it should be balanced, it should be shared. But in relationships, if you're, you know, want to have a family and stuff, I definitely understand why women want to be independent. Because if you're not independent and you let a man do what they want to do and they leave you, you're basically effed. And you may have to person. So
you see that? So let me interject there for a second. So my thoughts surrounding that, I think, cool. So from a dating perspective, like you said that, and I think her brethren, I don't know what our friend's name, who was in the clip as well,
in the car,
saying, what are you bringing to the table? This is the question. Because you see what I hear when, and I think I shared an example with you guys as well, where someone I was talking to, it was BB pin days, you know how it was all going. They basically said, Joe, for you to get you're gonna have to take me out on a date. To me, in my head, immediately I thought, what kind of prostitution is this? Like, we
Exactly.
can't. I know it's a family show, but like, to me, once you put that price on yourself and you say, this is my buyout, like, you see when people say selling out, when you put a price on yourself and you say, this is my buyout clause, those of you that know football,
we're running out of time.
Every contract's got that buyout clause. So when you say, my buyout clause is cinema, which, by the way, let me just say, I think is one of the worst date ideas you can ever have.
What, cinema?
Yeah, I hate it, especially for a first date. Because what are you doing? You're sitting there
watching,
and there's that weird armchair armrest, and you're just watching something else.
Unless it's a drive-in cinema or boat cinema. You know, like, literally, they've got drive-in cinemas, yeah.
Nah, man.
Cinema
should be on the fourth date.
No. The driving cinema thing is different. But let me not lie to you. If I'm gonna leave my house to go watch a movie, I'm not really trying to
be quiet.
Yeah. When you're trying to ask me, so what's your favorite color? I'm trying to tell you, can't you listen? Like, I'm watching Avengers right now still. I don't like, to me personally, cinema is the worst date. Like, cinema is the worst. Like, I prefer dinners, or even if you go to a bar or whatever, where you can actually talk and communicate.
Yeah.
Miss Shisha girl over there, where you can and communicate. But kind of going back to the point, personally, I feel like from a dating perspective, if you want to be independent, then be independent, but really be independent. So when you go on this first date, it does. I remember I'll use this example. One of my friends is when he was with his our ex before she passed away, unfortunately, they used to do the cutest stuff. Like, he used to call me and tell me, and they'll go, like, Sheps, like, we had to fight each other to see who wanted to pay. Like, he's saying, yo, babes, I'm going to the toilet, and then he goes to the bar, pays for the meal, and then when she pulls out her card that you have paid, the waiter say, that's already been sorted, and they have arguments. They're like, no, you had last time, I wanted to have this time, and they're having to find creative ways And to me, what that meant was it was spending the time together that was valuable. So
Yeah.
that for me as a person, and I won't lie to the females out there, if all that matters to you is how much money I spend on a meal, then that's your buyout clause.
100%.
Me,
No,
that's a
I agree with you, Sheps. Yeah, it is. And the thing for me, and I think when it comes to dating as well, I think nowadays, sadly, I'm not saying all, so people don't crucify me, but it's becoming like, as what you said, okay, if you take me out and you spend this much, then it means you like me. And it's not. And we're kind of forgetting the core values. It's about getting to know the person. Do you know what I mean? And what you just said about your friend and his ex and about, you know, they're arguing about who's paying. For me, that shows how much they actually cared about each other, because it's like, you know what? My thing is, I want to spend, there was a balance there. And I think currently with our generation right now, the balance is actually, it's not there. Everyone's kind of think it's like, my view is everyone's trying to think, oh, what can I get out of this person? Rather than, you know what, I want to see if our energies actually match. Do you know what I mean? And where it can actually go. It's like dating now. It's like there's always an undertone. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I think it's rare, or not rare, but it's kind of like a small minority of people who do date can be very open and transparent with you and say, you know what, actually, I've really enjoyed the time that I spent with you, and I do want to get to know you a lot more. That's how dating really should be. It shouldn't be about a man taking a woman to the most best restaurant.
shard in that. You're going to the shard.
You get me? And then you're posting the bill and everything, but it's not meaningful. For me,
But
when
I
I'm
paid for
dating,
the whole meal, but you just want to get my little finger in there and my wrist in there.
It is.
you know what I'm trying to
With
say?
the
No,
pinky ring.
and you know how cheesy that is to go.
Yeah, but
Yo.
do you think so?
That's so corny.
I'm doing one of these
But
ones
can I
in the
just
camera.
mention?
Yeah.
But can I just mention something though, right? The type of guys that take these women out, don't you think they do things dodgy anyway? Don't you think they're like either road guys buying AC or getting their money in a fraudulent type of way? Do you think these are literally hard working men like you guys that are?
No, I mean we wouldn't.
Like,
But you know what is, Vinny?
The
But you know
flossers
what is, Vinny?
hang around with the flossers. Do you get what I'm saying? Girls go for certain type of guys. Like girls like that will go for those type of guys that are doing stuff like that, because they can afford that whole expectation of, you know, all of these expensive things. And do you get where I'm coming from? I don't think
you know what
a
it is,
regular
Denise?
girl would want you to spend all your money on her. I
Yeah,
can't
but
see
you
it.
know what it is, Vinny, though? But it's what you said, yeah. I see myself as just a regular guy doing a 9 to 5 in a stable job, and that's it. So for me, maybe you're right in terms of the caliber of men that they see. Someone like me, those girls wouldn't, like I said, I'm not the one, because if they come to me, they're not gonna like what I'm gonna be saying to them, because I'm a regular guy. My thing is,
You work hard for your money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I work for my money, and on top of that, if I'm gonna go out with you and I want to date you, you know, it's true. But if I want to go out and date you, I'm gonna do something meaningful. So me spending £100 on you on a 5, that's not meaningful. Me actually, I like something like walking out to London South Bank, go to a nice meal, or maybe go and walk down London South Bank down the evening. I like that. You know what I'm trying to say, Chefs? Like, I like the simple stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know, or going to like Greenwich, driving you to Greenwich and pulling the car up and just seeing the whole of London there. That's nice. You know what I mean? Like, I've done things like that because for me, that's important. You know, that for me is meaningful. It's something that you can remember. Or go on the London night in the evening, giving you a rose at the top, looking at London. Those things are important. Like,
they're romantic. Yeah,
trust me, bro.
Yo,
I'm not even advertising my soul, but I'm a romantic. You know, there's like, I tell you, the way I'm romantic, like I would do a lot of things, but I may not spend 3, 4, 5 digits, but the money that I do spend is about it being meaningful for the lady, for her to think, you know what, I'm gonna remember how Nana took me out. Do you know what I mean? Oh, and I like conversation. I could talk for the world, and I must joke as well. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean to kind of to jump in on that one as well. To jump in on that one as well and answer your question, Venice. I think, and this is, I might give away trade secrets. I don't know if certain men are going to be out for me because we're giving away trade secrets. But so you see, whatever attributes you have, the funny man knows I'll bust jokes, I'll get dates, I'll get whatever. The person with the money knows that there's girls out there that just flash two red bottom, 2 spikes on the shoes, and it's done. Game over. It doesn't matter anything. Your breath could stink. You could not have showered.
Yeah.
Like, it does not matter. As long as the rollies on, the lubes is on. I'm talking
The
both from
status.
that people that get their
Status,
money
yeah.
legally. And working in the city, I've worked in the city, and I've worked with people that had money, not even from working, just from families that are well off. And to them, they're laughing. They're like, yeah, mate. Like, you think, me spending 200 quid on you, like someone that's earning 200-300 grand a year is like, yeah, spending 200 quid on you, and you're telling me gates unlocked. Like, you see, have you ever gone to East Croydon Station at night time when there's no one there? There's no barriers to entry. You walk straight in, you walk on your train. So yeah, so there's not even, you don't even need to tap nothing. The gates are open because I'm taking you to the shop. But these times you don't know, and this is another thing. What girls might not realize is, yeah, you might have gone to the shard, but Donny might have gone voucher and a quick and borrowed his friend's ribs.
Oh, listen,
my birthday.
Listen, Groupon voucher. Hey, let's
Groupon.
knock it off. Yeah.
So
Groupon
For my
voucher,
own
let's knock it,
birthday.
you know?
I took a guy out for my own birthday and went on voucher.
Yeah,
but then see if you've got the mentality that Azizi was talking about in terms of these girls that don't bring value, but they're talking about, yeah, Miss Independent, spend your money, not my money. Like, they'll fall for things like that. Someone's gone on Groupon, got 1-2 shard date, and it might be a 2-in-1. So your date number 1, date number 2 is on the weekend.
£65 and a drink. You get me, bro?
And then they come with their friends chain, friends lubes, and you're thinking, yeah, the rented range and that, and and then you're thinking, yeah, I got me a Fortune 500 guy, but then after you give up the goods, you think you get a call back. You see him next day working whatever uniform he works in, and you're like, yo, where's the range and the lubes?
It's true, bro.
Because you got what your price was saying. Like, if I go to Tesco's and it says Tesco value biscuits, I'm not pulling out a pinky. I'm pulling out 45p. That's how much it costs.
Exactly.
Whatever it takes.
100%.
Like, you do what it takes to get what you're out to get. And this is what I think girls need to understand. And this is why I think it's important having girls like you, Venice, where you've got a different perspective. Having Zizi, who's saying, what do you bring to the table? Like, when you're dating, and this brings me into my next question. So what advice? So I want to ask you guys. So I'll ask Venice first. So
I'll ask her first. Yeah, ask her first.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you two parts. So the first part, what advice would you give to guys who are out there, and they feel like they have to do this flashy thing in order to even get females out? What advice would you give them? That's number one. Number two, what advice would you give the females that feel like if the guy's not spending £200-300 on a meal, if the guy's not out here buying Swarovskis, whatever the lubes or whatever for her, that means he doesn't care. So to the boys and to the girls, what advice would you give them?
Okay. So, and I really wish you did the first question first, because now all right. So the advice that I'll give to the guys. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. What was the first question?
Okay, cool. Let me ask. Let me
do it separately, man.
Separate. Do you know what it is? Yeah? Do you know what it is? It's my fault, because even my MD gets at me all the time, because when I'm on the phone, he's like, Shepherd, stop asking 2 questions. Ask one question. So I need to learn. I'm learning. We're learning as we go. TheFacelessPodcast. So the first question is, what advice would you give to a young guy out there, even the older guys, that feel like in order for them to get females, they have to do the stunting thing, they have to do this flashy thing? What advice would you give them?
Okay, so talking from my experience, I would say that it's not about the money that you spend, because, for instance, you can go and take a girl out, only see them once or twice a month and spend £500. But really and truly, what the girl actually wants is time. I would rather spend time with a guy 3-4 times a week if I'm lucky. Like, there's literally this, whether it's walking in the park, like, most times it would like go to their house, them coming to me, come to my house, we're playing games, playing cards. Even if like shisha, £10, I would pay, he would pay. It doesn't really matter, to get where I'm coming from. Or go to the park, walk the dog, anything, but as long as I'm with them. So for me, it's all about time versus time over money all day, every day. Obviously, I want them to be doing well, but if it's like, if I had to choose, it would definitely be time. Because money, you can't really get to know someone with money. You get to know someone with time. And for the ladies, if the man's not spending money on you, but he's spending time, then you should definitely be happy. And I think women, I don't know, man. I think women want a man to spend more time than money anyway, if they had to choose. I'll tell the ladies, like, if you wanna find a real man, then you just need to kind of keep it chilled, because a guy's not gonna go for you if all he thinks is that all you do is just want his money. So I feel like if you really like this man, then I say, like, take it chill, get to know him first. Don't feel like don't pressure a man like that he has to spend money on you, or and don't be trying to like be some Instagram person because you want to be flashy, you want to be seen in a nice restaurant and stuff like that. Because as I said, that you don't get to know someone by money, you get to know someone with time. So I feel like, so for me, for men and women, time. Even if you're doing it, even you don't have to go nowhere to spend time with someone. I feel like it's really important to get to know someone. I feel like, I feel like women as well, like when you see a man and he's got loads of money, you're so quick to jump in bed with him, but when he's done with you and he goes, you're there barley because you caught feeling. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, take it chill.
Crying into the Birkin bag.
Literally, they start bawling, tears, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But as I said, these girls that I'm talking about that do that, they're not like normal girls. Do you know what I mean? Like, normal girls like me will settle for a man, unfortunately, that's broke. But if he's got good qualities...
I just say unfortunately.
You see, she was on such a good roll, and it's spoil it.
No, because I dated guys. No, wait, because no, don't try it. No, don't try it. I've dated guys. No, I dated guys that weren't working and at the time had no ambition. But because I liked them so much because of who they were, right? I dated this guy for like what? How many months? Like from like 6, 7, 8 months.
She rescued it. Nah, that's true.
Because you guys jumped in quick. Okay. I already said this from my thingy, but because I liked who he was.
I'll put one. We don't do champers.
Yeah.
No, but thing is that
she rescued it.
No, but because I liked who he was.
Venice, you're back on the podium. Because
I liked who he was as a person. I didn't even care that he wasn't working or anything, because he still had time to go and see me. We still was in, we was keeping each other company. We were still doing things, even though we didn't wasn't like costly or anything. I just enjoyed being with him because I liked who he was as a person. I liked looking at him. I liked feeling his energy. So, and I say unfortunately because I would like to be with a guy that's got ambition. I would love to be with a man that's doing really well for himself. Who wouldn't want their man to do well for themselves? Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
No, that's good.
That's me.
No, I appreciate that. Mr. Nana, take it away. So again, let me re-ask the question. Just in case, because I know with the answers we might go on tangents. So do you want it individually, or can you handle it?
Well, I'll do both in it. So in terms of the first one about the men who feel they need to stunt, my thing is that what you need to be doing is you need to be thinking it's not about the content of your money, but it's about the content of your character. If a woman is truly invested in you and she likes you, the amount of money you spend shouldn't really be an issue. If it starts to become an issue, then she's not for you. How you need to be, not selling yourself because it's the wrong word, but how you need to be kind of presenting yourself when you're out there is what kind of in line with what Venice said. It's more about, like when you're dating and you're thinking long term, sometimes you got to put sex to one side. It's kind of about your aspirations and what you as a man bring to the table, and also the time as well that you're investing into. Because as Venice said, and I agree, more women more want to be with a man who is going to invest his time into them. Do you know what I mean? But if you're seeing like red flags that actually she's more thinking about my pocket, then you shouldn't really go there. So you need to kind of assess how it's kind of going, and it's okay to pull on the brakes. And as a man, like I said, I know, I know it might be difficult to say, but I know with some men they feel as that they need to stunt. The thing is, what I would say is that at first and foremost, you have to be able to look into the mirror first. Why are you stunting? Are you stunting because you want to do it, or are you stunting because you feel pressure because what everyone else is doing? As a man, be yourself. Stop following trend and what's on the gram. Be yourself. If you are yourself and the woman is reciprocating it, then that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes money doesn't. Yes, money makes the world go round, but sometimes what's in here can supersede that. So for all men out there, all I'm gonna say to you is just be yourself. Do you know what I mean? And stop thinking that's about the content of what's in your pocket. Something's about the content of what's in here, yeah, and how you present yourself. That's the first thing that I would say to men. Just be yourself, and it's okay. It's okay not to flash. Sometimes there's a saying, yeah, less is more. And you have more substance by not being OTT, but sometimes being simple and okay and being reserved and doing the simple things actually go a long way. So that's my thing for men. And then to women who are feeling that, oh, a man's not spending all this thing on me, you have to look beyond his pocket. And that's, for me, is key. You have to look beyond his pocket, and you have to also stop measuring money against dating. That's what I think is the problem. You're measuring materialism over emotional value and emotional energy. And I think that's the main issue for me. And the boundaries are becoming very blurred. If a man doesn't spend £100 on you, why does that make you feel he's not invested in you? You could go for a walk in a park and spend £20 and have a picnic, and that could be the best. But what you're looking at is you're comparing other women on the gram being taken out, and you're equating that to your own needs. And you can't equate other people's needs to your own. Your own needs are going to be different. But don't be putting your needs and thinking, oh, I see all these other girls getting taken out, going to Dubai, going to the best restaurants, and that equates to happiness. That does not equate to happiness. Your own needs are different to everyone else's on the gram. So make it applicable to you. So my main thing to women is, one, look beyond this pocket. Two, don't equate happiness and courtship to money. And three, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what are my needs as a woman? Not what's being presented out there on the media, because you don't know their lifestyles. It's about your own. Do you know what I mean? And get to know the man. Have those deep conversations with him. Not about what car you drive, this and this and this. What are you interested in? What books do you like? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Ask those questions. It's important. Yeah, like hiking, like just to go off a bit, Chef. Like Denise will tell you, I'm a nerd. I've been going on this hiking thing for like once a month, and it's getting people in. So it's about what I'm trying to say is, don't make dating generic. Think outside the box and do different things. So that's what I would say for women, and obviously for men, as I said earlier before, be yourself. But for women, think outside the box and don't equate your own needs to what other girls are doing. Make it applicable to you. That's my advice.
Me, I like that still. I'm going to pop one next. We'll pop one next for you still. Don't worry. We don't have
yes, bro. Trust me.
Don't give yourself an asthma attack.
If I start choking past this anyway, it's not COVID. But yeah, I mean, to kind of add my 2 cents to it, like I agree with what both of you said, and I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I made you let's go first, and I can get to pick the best out of both parts. And I think, just to kind of round it off as well for myself, from a guy's perspective, and I'll give an example actually, that I've never felt like I had to stunt, but then what I find, I'm talking personally for myself, is if I feel like I like someone, then it's almost like you don't want to let them down. You almost want to bring for them. So I remember, and this one, and I don't know if my family's watching this, and yeah, I've been on a few dates. That's neither here nor there. We're still angelic. The halo's still there. Don't worry about that. But basically what happened is, so kind of talking to this girl, and yeah, it was okay, we're talking, let's go on a date. But where she kind of got it in my head that, yeah, the man has to pay, rah, 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 rah. And in my head, I'm like, she might be all right. I might like this girl. So now it's not like I felt like I had to stunt, but I felt like for me to have a fighting chance with this girl, like, and take this girl out and I need to pay, because when people say something with confidence, you believe them, and it's almost like if you can't take me out, then you don't even deserve to be with me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I promise you now, we went to this steakhouse, and when I'm telling you, God had me that day. You know, when I let her order first, so I can adjust my order according to what's my bank. So I'm going, I don't know what I want to eat yet. You order first. Ordered, whatever. Cool. And then I had to adjust. I wanted a different steak, but I had to do the mental maths in my head and go, you know what? Based on what's left, my accountant's called me and he said, "Big man, you can't get that steak. You have to get this one."
Or you
check
the menu. You check the menu before you get the online, innit? Just to make sure, innit?
100.
I've done that. I hadn't even. But this is back then where menus weren't even online like that. So So imagine when I'm telling you, God had me this day. Our meal came up to the exact amount that, to the penny. I'm not making to the penny what was in my account. And then after that, I'm sitting there thinking, wait, hold up, because do you know what happened afterwards? Yeah, cool. The end result of the thing was, I think you're taking this too serious. So I just put afterwards, but in my head I'm thinking, yeah, I think she's cool, but I'm like, you know me, this is take my time with that. And I've been single my whole life, so I'm really taking my time. So it's like, for me to go through that stress thinking this is what I have to do to be on level in terms of me to feel like I deserve to be talking to this girl, and then for her to go, yeah, I think you're taking this too serious, when I've given nothing of the sorts. From that day I went, you know what, every girl me, I'm broke. I could have just won the lottery 2 days ago. I'm broke.
Yeah.
So my advice, using that example, my advice to the guys, I know it's been a bit long, a bit drawn out, is just like what Nana said, and Venice was alluding to the same thing. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, be who you are. If you are that guy with the Balenciagas, because then it's not stunting. You're just ripping. That's how you live. Like, if Prince William or one of the royal families took Venice out and took you Buckingham Palace, that's not stunting. That's where they live.
It's their lifestyle,
If that's your lifestyle, that's how you're legitimately living, then cool. Do the shards, do all of that if you can afford it. If you can't afford it and you're having to sacrifice on food and lunch and paying the rent and doing whatever, then leave it alone. Just
don't make yourself destitute to impress. That's another thing I've got to say. Don't make yourself, because I think a lot of men them do that. Do not make yourself destitute to impress any woman at all. Even some guys go and get a rental for the night. You don't need to do that.
Turn up on the bus.
It's not that deep.
I'll turn up on the bus.
But do you think it's all about? But do you think sometimes it's all about a man trying to impress a woman? Or do you think he's trying to impress his friends as well? I've got a bad B on the side.
It's about a man trying to impress a woman, because you know what? You've seen my car in it, but when my first
I
see
really
my car.
haven't.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen your car.
The first car I had, Sheps, was a 1999 Peugeot, 1.1 power steering, couldn't power steering, 206,
I know that.
Everyone, bruv, I remember one girl, I went to take her out in it, and I picked her up in the Peugeot, and she went, she goes, I know that's your car in it. I was like, yeah. She's like, I ain't sitting in that. I said, what? Excuse me? Because you ain't got no Merc. So I was like, hold on, let me tell you something. It gets me from A to B, and you've taken public transport. You who have to go, you who have to go, you have to get out of your house, and you have to go and tap a card like this, a little blue thing like this, onto a little yellow symbol, are coming to tell me you're not going to get in my car because it's too old for you. No, man. So sometimes...
Listen, after 11 o'clock, you can't even travel. There's no more
you get what I'm trying to say?
I don't know where you guys live, innit? You guys do your 24 hours.
After you get out of zone 3 and it starts charging you, extra £2.50, and you're telling me you won't get in my car because it's too old, then after 11 o'clock, you can't get home. And these times, there's no Uber or there's no Bolt. You get me, bro? Yeah, like, you get me? So I think for men, it is difficult because, and you've got to be a man who's strong, because of the current climate we're in for dating. You got to be a man who's strong, who's like, you know what? I don't give a shit if I drive this or I ain't wearing these clothes and this. If you don't like me for me, you're done. But I think a lot of men cave in. Me, I don't cave in. If you don't like me for me, and you don't like my car or anything like that, or I'm not fancy enough for you, you can do one. I'm strong-willed like that, so no woman will ever allow me to cave in, because I like who I am. I'm confident who I am. I don't earn 6 figures and all them kind of things, so I'm fine with that.
Not yet,
yeah, you get me. But but we all of us three are happy like that. But a lot of guys and women, you stunt and you cave in. I don't believe in stunting, because stunting for me, that's short term. Do you know what I mean? And that's not my end. That's not my end goal. And me trying to impress you, I'm not gonna impress you to win you over with what you think is financially or material. No, it's not. But you've got to be very strong-willed not to cave in this dating game. That's what it is.
Especially in this day and age as well, because you see, like now, where social media is there, your life can finish ASAP. There's cancel culture. Go back and tune into my video on cancel culture. Your life can be done, and all it is a bad day. And it depends. Like if you're dating someone who's got a following, if you're dating someone who's, and again, this will go, and I will probably do a whole separate topic on this one. But in terms of what people are going for when they're going for their partners, this will probably have to, because this is another hour in its own. But then yes, I think that's another topic. Let me just leave that there, because we're gonna have to come back to another collab for that one. But then let me finish on my advice to the girls, and this is coming from a male perspective. And again, I've got another example which is kind of relevant to the topic of effectively where that like, I do a job where I'm on the phone all the time. So when I finish work, I do not want to be on the phone. Like, I'll text you, voice note you, everything. I do not want to be on the phone. But for this particular individual, spending an hour every single day on the phone showed that I cared. And it's similar thing in terms of, but whereas I've done the compromises and whatever else, but then to me, it's all about measuring. How do you measure value actually? So do you measure value in terms of, are you looking at, because there's times when it's been, for example, it might not be a pricey date. It might not be the most pricey date, but then what I've had to sacrifice to even be there, or to even, I could have bailed out on the family function. It could have been my auntie's wedding or whatever, and I've chosen to do and argue with my family for 2 weeks because I chose to spend time with someone else. Like, what are you valuing? And that's my advice to the girls out there. I feel like if the guy's not spending money on you, then he's not, he doesn't care about you. There's guys out here that were born with money. Spending a grand on you, to them, could be like dropping 50p in a drain. Like, it could just mean the same. It doesn't mean anymore.
Drop them, honey.
Yeah, and someone could take you. Literally, someone could take you favourites or Morley's. And when I'm telling you that, that they've had to, not, because when I say in terms of money, someone could not afford to take on a date, but it doesn't mean they're broke. If they're saving for a mortgage, they might not be able to afford to take you for a date, but they're not broke. They just, them not being able to take you on a date, they could have other responsibilities. What if they've got kids? What if they've got families that's dependent on them? They could be looking after the mothers, especially coming from our cultures where you, like, just because you're grown and you're working, you might have your own place, don't mean you stop looking after your family. Like, and a lot of us have got extended family abroad as well, where every single day there's always something new. Someone new needs school books, school uniform, school whatever. So they could be telling you, I can't afford to go Hakkasan or wherever else, but it don't mean they don't like you. It just means they're living within their means. So my advice to the girls out there would be similar to what Nana said, similar to what Vinny said. You need to be personally accountable in terms of what are you looking for in these guys. What do you deem to be valuable? Why are you dating? Are you dating because you want to be taken out, or are you dating because you want to find the one? Are you dating because it's just a pre-checklist before you take it to the bed? Why are you actually going on these dates? And then you have a better idea, because like me personally, all the dates where I could say, yeah, I remember that date, I never actually remember the activity. I don't remember the dinner. I couldn't tell you what we ate. What I remember is the conversations that we had. More times it was even after we've left, like even if I'm waiting for your train and that conversation there, or when we're in the car and I'm taking you home, you're taking me home, whatever it is, that conversation there. That's what I remembered from the dates. It's the time, like what Venice was saying, that you're spending with this person that's of value. And just to even bring it back around to what Zizi and what our friend was saying, what do you then bring to the table? So if we're now saying this is valuable, what are you bringing to this table? Because if you're telling me all you're bringing to the table is that pretty face and the voluptuousness, then that's all you got to offer. Like if I go to chicken shop, I can't order steak. They don't do that there. I can only order chicken and chips. So if you're out here saying, yo, why is no one treating me like I'm a steak? They're treating me like I'm number 9. You have to evaluate that yourself and go, like, what am I bringing to the table in these dates? Yeah. If no one wants to take you up, because another thing that guys are doing, correct me if I'm wrong, Nana, they'll look at you and go, are you worth the money? Are you worth the time? If we're going to do this,
it's true, and it goes back to what you were saying about ZZ Mills, and it's about accountability. And like I said, a lot of guys will look at me, you know, actually, nah, you ain't worth me me taking you out, you know. And it's true. You know, I've had it before. I'm like, you know what, nah. I've chatting to a guy, you know, nah. I wouldn't take you out. There's this your energy is off for me, you know. So I agree that I think what ZZ Mills is saying is right, and I think women don't like that, because some women who agree with it understand, but women who don't agree with her is only because it puts the spotlight on them to be accountable for what they do bring. And I think the issue is
responsible.
And be responsible. And some of those women who disagree, the reason why they disagree is because they can't answer the question as to what they're going to bring. If we were to ask Venice what she brings, Venice can tell us what she will bring. I'm not putting on the spot, but I'm just saying that you'll be able to tell a man, you know, what you'd bring to the table. But some of these women,
I bring myself.
Yeah, no, you bring yourself.
No. Let me bounce the answer. That's the weakest answer.
It's so weak.
I'm also bringing myself.
Yeah, no,
so
man.
where do we go from there?
So
you go choose the end of the day.
You're bringing yourself. You're bringing yourself. But if I'm saying to you, so if me and you were to be in a relationship, what could you bring to the relationship? Because for me, I can answer that question. But I think for what Zizi was saying about those particular women, they can't answer the question, and that's the problem. It puts, as what Sheps was saying, it makes them accountable and responsible, and they wouldn't be able to say, well, this is what I'm going to bring, because they know they haven't got anything else to bring. That means, and that's not me criticizing them, it means they have to reassess themselves and be like, shit, you know what? So yeah, I've got my body done, but raw. I actually don't know what else I can bring to the table. Do you know what I mean? So it puts them in that corner to be like, actually, you know what, shit, I've got to check myself. And that's what it all boils down to. Because if you're a man and you ain't got shit to bring, as a man, for me, that's about your foundation as a man. I think as a man, you need to have your foundation about you. Me, as a black man, I make sure I have my foundation. So when a woman is speaking to me and she asks me what I'm going to bring, I'm very clear as to what I will bring to the table. You know what I mean? Forget about job and all that. But if she's asking, family life and what your plans are and all that, I'm very clear. So I think as a man,
you've got a goal. So you don't need to rely on the money. Like guys,
I need to rely on the money.
They might have to stunt. So because you've got that clear vision of this is what I bring, family life, this is what I bring, my personal characteristics, this is where my ambition takes me.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the plan, basically. This is the blueprint of where life with me will take you.
Exactly. You said it. That's it. It's blueprint.
You don't have to.
You have to have a blueprint. If you've got a blueprint, there's no need for you to stunt. man and woman alike. There's no need for you to stunt if you've already got a blueprint for yourself already. You wouldn't need to stunt for the other person that you're potentially trying to get into a relationship with, or you want to get married to, or you want to build something with. You wouldn't need to stunt. But because a lot of people, and it's sad to say, and not everyone in our generation has a blueprint, is why dating at times can be all over the place. And it's where, as you said, some girls are like, well, look at me, look how I look.
I'm a snack.
I look at how you look, but
whack.
Okay.
They're talking about whack.
Yeah, you get me. Yeah. But that's another thing, isn't it? Because you don't want me to start fire on it. But I'm just saying. But look at my body. But okay, cool. I'm looking at your body. But all right. But what about here? Like, how can you? I think Vinny said it in Medina Talk. Yeah, but you like to be. Is it mind fucked, innit? You remember that?
I love a smart man. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Man. I love a man that I can debate, talk to, have random conversations, even if I'm wrong, like to teach me a lot of things. I love a man.
This is it. Education, and that's what we are losing. So I think, Sheps, you're right. It is about having your blueprint.
Can I also say something though? Like, you know about the whole, if someone asks me, Venice, in a relationship, what can you bring to the table? Like, I can't lie, for me, I'm not to say, because I've never been in a relationship before, so I don't know really the makeup of how a relationship is supposed to run. But if I was going to answer that, it would be more about how I would envision my life and how I would want to live my life. Would that be what we'll be bringing to the table? Because I don't really think about the other party. That makes sense. Obviously, like I said, I want a man that's doing well, and I want a man that I can help, and he helps me. You know, it's a two-way thing.
To help you out on there, sorry to cut you off. To help you out on there, I basically feel like you said, I don't know what I bring, but I know what I bring. So effectively, when someone's saying, what do you bring to the table? That what we was talking about, you've got that blueprint. You've got the type of guy that you want in your head. You've got, this is how I'd want to live. You know, do I want a family? You know, like you mentioned earlier, I want that traditional role. I don't mind being a housewife.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind. So that's what you're bringing to the table. Like, you're not just saying, oh yeah, I'm bringing me and that and the whining and
the big booty.
Like you've and the big booty and the body.
Basically, exactly.
None of those physical characteristics, which then puts a price on you, which you see because you see, like, let's say even if you go on Amazon, you see the photo of the thing, but the thing's got a description underneath. That's what the thing does. So if your photo is your description, that's all people. That's what people think you bring to the table. But the fact that you said, I know how I'd want to live my life. I know how to envision it.
That's
what you bring to the table. Maybe it's just phraseology in terms of how you then articulate that to someone might be where
exactly
might be sure to be like, how do I answer this question? But from speaking to you, even the fact that you said you love someone that challenges you mentally, this is evidence. The fact that we're in a podcast right now speaking about these topics, I could vouch for that now, because I could go and I've listened to your lives and I could see you thinking and going, okay, what do I think about that? Okay, maybe that's strong in your and for
this
any guys that are watching that want to quote Venice, look, you've got two intellectuals here, and she keeps sapping them. So you're gonna have to be sharp. You're gonna have to be sharp.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna say exactly, Venice. Yeah. So what Sheps was saying, you know, and I agree with him, that obviously no one's gonna ask you what you're gonna bring to the table. No, because like I think that's too broad. But when you are having the conversation, exactly. But when you are having the conversations with, you know, a man or a woman alike, that you pick up from them in terms of, as what Shep said, where they envision themselves into the next 5 or 2. And as you said, what you mentioned about planning your life, that question is kind of like the path you're willing to take with that person. Do you know what I mean? Because me saying, what I bring my degrry. Oh, okay, everyone's gonna do.
How do you answer that question? So would it be more about I don't want to say the wrong word. Not capabilities.
Compatibility.
Yeah, what I say to you is, it's not about
compatibility. That word.
Compatibility, it's about compatibility.
It's more about like capability,
No, but do you know what we need to do? This would have to be a separate one because I actually want to go into this topic in terms of let's define what compatibility is, because I feel like especially in our generation, we've got very superficial understanding of compatibility.
Yeah,
And there's
it's
some
surface
topics
level.
that we don't even touch up on in terms of because I've spoken to a lot of people that have had relationships that have stood the test of time. And when you ask what they looked for in each other, and then these divorced every 2 minutes people, you see there's a vast difference. And it might not be, oh yeah, marriages are failing because people are not serious anymore. It might be that when you're getting into these relationships, you're not looking for the right things. But I want that to be a separate topic on its own. Which you do another collab whenever you guys are ready, because I think that would be a fantastic one for us to touch up on as well.
Definitely, yeah.
And I mean, I'll do this. I don't know how much time do you guys have left, because I know I wanted to touch up on something else that briefly as well.
Well, I don't know, I think we may have a lot of time. I don't know. It hasn't said anything about time.
No, I'm talking about you guys in terms, because I know everyone's a working person. So do you have to go soon, or what are you saying, Anna?
Me, listen, I'm down for another hour, innit? I mean, I'll be in bed at 11:30, bro. For gym
but I can't be in bed at 11:30, 11 o'clock.
No, so I'll make this topic quick. So, I mean, before I move on to, because this is still linked to what we was talking about before. So this is just now attacking it from a different perspective. But before I move on, is there any final words any of you two would want to say with regards to the ZZ Mills video and the message that she's trying to put out there to the youth?
I think for me, just to say, with ZZ Mills, I agree with what she said. And I think what it does is it puts the onus more on those women to be a lot more responsible and accountable, and for them to kind of evaluate themselves as to what they actually do bring to the table. And also, just to finally wrap up, it's about, for me, when it comes to dating, it is using the word reciprocated. It needs to be reciprocal, and it shouldn't really be one-sided. And I think the point that she said is spot on. There needs to be a lot more balance, and it needs to be a lot more give and take, and not take. That's not the basis of a relationship or courtship. It needs to be consistent on both parts.
Can I ask a question though, please?
Go on.
But say if the guy's got money and he takes her on a date, but and she accepts it because she wants to go out on a date, but she doesn't have the same type of money, but she'd rather invite him around the house, maybe cook for him, or do something that doesn't cost a lot. Would you say that's being reciprocated back?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I would. I would 100%. Yeah, no.
You wouldn't look at her and be like, "Well, I'm spending all this money," and all
no, not at all.
I think to be consistent with what we've been saying as well, it was more about the time. It was more about the thought behind it. Like Nana said something that I agree with wholeheartedly, which is you could buy me a pair of socks. And for me personally, which is why when people ask me, what do you want for your birthday? I go, if I tell you what you want, you can't get it from me. If I tell you I want a palace for my birthday, you can't buy me a palace. If I say I want a Lamborghini, you can't get me that. But what you could get me a post-it note. I don't care. Like the fact that you thought about it and you said, what would Sheps want? What would make Sheps smile? What would make Sheps happy? And I've got like a pet stone here that I got given by one of my old nurses when I was working in healthcare recruitment. And after Christmas, her daughter bought me that. And I'll never ever throw that away. It's a pet stone with googly eyes.
Yeah, it's true.
It means something.
You know what I've got from the... Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I've got? The guy that I was seeing in Ghana, I've got him socks because I knew every time I used to see his feet, he'll always have these funny, crazy socks. So when I went to Ghana, I made sure I bought him a few of those jazzy African socks.
It's the thought, Vinny, and that's what ZZ Mills said. It's the thought that counts. Some girls have gone and got me, when they've gone on holiday, a key ring or souvenir. Yeah, for me, it's not about how much you spend. If you've got me in mind, for me, that wins me over. You've thought about me. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So I mean, to answer your question, and this actually brings me on to what I wanted to go on nicely. So in terms of, I think, was there a sound there? I don't know what just happened. Or was this me? I thought it shut down. I don't know what happened, but
it's still recording, isn't it?
Okay,
it's still recording.
Okay, cool. So we're good to go. But yeah, to kind of round up answering your question, for me, it's the thought that matters. So personally, I'd rather the home cooked meal than going up to a restaurant. But obviously, I understand you've got the memories, you got whatever there, and I understand as well it might not be that comfortable to just be going to someone's house all the time or whatever it is. But personally, to me, that would mean a lot more because you've had to go get angry. It could be a microwave meal. I personally, that what's valuable to me is spending time and getting to know someone. So it could be a microwave meal, it could be chicken and chips, we could be split in one wing. Like, just it doesn't matter. Like, take a bite of a chip each and we're full. To me, it genuinely is not.
It's true,
Like,
man.
what matters to me is the time and actually getting to know someone, and because that's what you remember. Like, because if I ask you, tell me all the food you ate on all your dates, you don't remember that. But if I tell you, tell me a good date, tell me a bad date, you remember because of the things that happen. So personally, the reciprocation that was that Anna's talking about, that Azizi's talking about, it's about thought. It's about, okay, cool. So like, even with me, it's like someone would go, oh, where do you want to go out on a date? And I go, I personally couldn't care. I genuinely couldn't care. If you've got somewhere you want to go, then speak up and we could go there. Personally, it doesn't bother me. Like, you could tell me, meet me round back and we'll sit in a car for 4 hours just talking.
It'll be the best times.
Yeah, and yeah, to me, that's a fantastic.
It will, yeah, Vinny's, honestly.
Didn't want to get out of the car because the conversation was that great.
It's popping, yeah, the conversation's popping. And then you wake up, you're like, it's 3 a.m.
That shit, yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, to answer that question, I don't know. Does anyone else have any more points to wrap up on the Zizi meal string? And I'll bring up the other topic, and we'll just do that quickly.
Nah, man, I think we've done well for the Zizi. I think we're all in agreement, which is good. Then I mean,
we've done it proud. I think we've done it proud. But
we've done it proud, isn't it? Yeah.
But the other topic now, similar sort of thing, but it's just the almost opposite mentality, where it was this lady that I follow on Instagram. I didn't even know I think she's got that 70 or between 60 to 70k followers, and she's verified. And what I'll do is I'll try to see if I could put the screenshot in post. I think I've sent it to you guys already. And what the screenshot was saying was, so for guys, inviting a girl over to your house for a first date doesn't cut it. If you can't afford to take the girl out, wait. Inviting a girl to your house for a first date is a big turn off. I've done a poll. Last time I checked, it was at 86% say agreeing with the post, and then about 14% disagreeing with the post. I'll hand it over to. I know my thoughts already. I'll hand it over to you guys. We'll start with Venice. I don't know, or if Nana wants to start, it's up to you guys.
Let Venice start, because me already, like, Venice, you go in it. I need to gather my thoughts in it before I respond. Venice, you go.
All right, hold on. I just want to know. You know, if this with this cut out, if it runs out of time, how does this work?
Was that me that's frozen, or?
I think that was all of us.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah.
Okay.
It's still recording. We're still.
All right, cool. All right. So for me, if a man, it depends where I'm meeting him from. But to be fair, I wouldn't want to go to his house on the first date, especially if I'm meeting him from some dating app. Like, that's a definitely big no-no. I actually want to see who he is, look at feel his energy. Like, I wouldn't go to a man's house on the first date. Like I said, we could either go out for to the pub. Most times, if I meet a guy on a first date, it will be out in the public, because I need to know who they are. Like, I can't just be going in a stranger's house. And I would think that if he wants to invite me around his house on the first date, just to chill, in my head, I would initially think, okay, I know what he probably wants. He wants, to have sex or whatever, because I don't know who he's been dating previously to me and what they've been giving him or what they've been doing. So I always have to bear that in mind. But that's it, really. Yeah, I wouldn't go to a man's house on the first date, just like I would invite someone to my house on the first date. I don't know who this person is. Like, your house is sacred, Like, your house is your house is your temple. You can't be invited into your house like that. You need to make sure.
I agree with you on that point. like I told everyone, my house is Area 51. You don't. It's not on a map. Like
Yeah.
it's not on a map. But all right, let me just probe into that a little bit more. So taking aside safety, so obviously I would never disagree with if you don't feel safe to go somewhere, then that could be the same with just meeting up with a person in general. You wouldn't meet up with them. So taking aside safety, you FaceTime this guy, you spoke to this guy. Let's say it's been about a month, so you know this guy enough to go, you know what, I even want to go on a date. For whatever reason, the guy can't afford to take you out. But he's invited you round to his house. He's made it very clear. I do not want anything. This is just what I can afford at the moment. But I do want to spend time with you. I'll even cook for you or make it a dinner date, whatever it is. Taking the safety aspect aside, so let's assume for this, you feel safe enough to meet this person. Would that still be a turn off for you or not? Like, how would you view that?
All right, let me not lie. I just remembered, yeah, back in 2015.
Bringing out the receipts.
Back in 2015, in my younger days, there was a delivery guy that delivered to my house, innit? And he called me, and he said, yeah, just to let you know I'm on my way. So I called up my mum, like, wow, mum, that man sounds nice. So anyway, my mum hooked us up. I got his number, and we started speaking. Like the way he sounded. I was like, cool, I want to meet up with you. I did actually go to his house. But I felt like, as me now, that was kind of irresponsible of me. Yeah, he's a delivery man, so yeah, there's a link. So if anything was to happen to me, my mom could say, yeah, he delivered our fridge, and you get where I'm coming from. But I wouldn't do I wouldn't do that now.
Oh no!
I think if he said to me, oh, like, I can't afford it, I'll say, let's walk up and down the road, let's meet in the park. Let's go library, let's go to the museum, let's do something. Because you can speak to someone on the phone for a month and you still really don't know who they are. I feel like I need to see someone and stuff. I feel like I need to see how they are. Like, I don't know, like speaking to someone on the phone or even on FaceTime, you can't really, I don't know. I feel like as an adult, I think as I get older, I'm more aware of things that could possibly happen because of more and more stories that come out when girls go on dates and they get murdered and all of that runs through my mind. So I feel like I would feel more better if I just met them like
okay, so for you,
in person first before I go meet them in their house and just sit there. And I don't know who else lives in that house. I don't know.
No, but remember we said the safety aspect, because obviously for safety reasons, I can't disagree with what you're saying. For safety reasons, it does make sense to not meet someone in their house for the first time, especially after only speaking to them for a few weeks. But let's say that safety aspect of things was taken out because this girl's post wasn't speaking about safety. It was speaking about it's a turn off in terms of like it's a red flag, it's a no-no. Like same way how someone snores, it might be a turn off for you. If someone spits when they talk, that was kind of the essence of what the post was. So how would you feel about it in that from that perspective?
Okay, if you say it's not about safety, I feel like it will be a no-no if you don't have self-control. So I feel like if a woman doesn't have self-control and she gets invited to a man's house that she's been talking to for a while, and she feels that's a no-no, it's because she can't go there and just sit there and chill, because if he tries it on with her, she may be willing to want to do what he wants to do. So I feel like that's I feel like it could be a self-control issue. Yeah. That's, I don't know, like other than safety reasons, I don't like know why you wouldn't want to, like, if we're taking that out of the aspect, I don't know why you would want to. I think it's self-control. Like after a couple of drinks, you might shag, and then that'll be it. He might.
No, but would you? Because I think because again, when I'm trying to touch on, I'm not even trying to lead you with these questions. I'm just trying to get a definitive answer. So, in terms of how would it make you feel as it was? So, if someone wants to go, okay, cool, that safety's out the window, you're gonna be safe. Let's just say you're gonna be safe. You can have me and Nana will be the snipers on the roof if anything goes down. But would to you, a guy that you're speaking to approaching you like that, would you look at that as a turn off? Would you look at them as any less of a person, or would that be bad brownie points towards them for saying, you know what, come to my house for a first date instead of let's go to Nando's, for example?
I wouldn't think of it as a turn off, because at least you get to see how they live in it. If they're
Look for
clean,
the positive.
you get to know if it's clean. You get to know like who lives in their family, what kind of parents they have, if they got a nice family home. Like I'm a bit nosy anyway, so I think I'll be looking at that. I'll be looking at how clean his room is. If he lives by himself, is there's dishes in the sink? Like, do you know what I mean? So if safety's out the
Started
thing
to
and
tick
the
off
guy
boxes already.
and the guy invites me to his house, and I think I have to be in that situation. So if I go to his house and there's no food, he doesn't offer me water or stuff like this. Okay, I know what type of person that you are. Like my tongue's hanging out of my mouth. You can't even offer
You
me
don't get offered water, then now walk out the house.
or like no nothing. But
You
I
don't
think
even
that
get
you
offered government juice. Yeah, walk
do
out
you
the
know what I
house.
mean? But do you know what? On the flip side, to be fair, if he lives with his family and he invites you to his house and you be speaking to him for like a month or two, I would kind of think that, raw, like he's actually kind of like he's been a bit serious in like where this could go. Because for a man to bring a female back home, especially when he lives with his family, it's a big thing. It's a big
Oh
thing.
yeah,
It's
100%.
like, so if I talk to a guy and he really liked me that much for me to meet him for the first time and I meet his mom, oh my gosh, I already know. Okay, cool, we could be getting married.
Saying wedding bells.
100%. It'll make me gas. Obviously, he would announce me as his friend, but at least she knows me. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes, you have to like know a guy for a whole year and still don't meet his mom and accidentally bump into meet his dad. Like that's, do you know what I mean? So I feel like I don't know on that aspect. I think it's a good thing.
You can't just meet Mumsy for meeting Mumsy's sake.
yeah.
It means something.
It must mean a lot for a man. Like for a woman, I don't think it means anything really. But for a man, I think it really, like if I was to if he wanted me to come to his house and he knew that his mum was in the house and I met his mum and stuff, and he goes, you know, like, and he's obviously probably pre-spoke about me to her. Can't just invite a random girl to the house. Probably say, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to this girl, kind of like her." Like that is a big deal. Like I can't lie. Like I would feel really happy and gas. And knowing me, because I do wear my heart on my sleeve, I'm really planning like everything. Like okay, how many kids are we having? Like.
Okay, so we know the way to your heart. We know the way to your heart. So
yeah,
guys out there that's been finding out or trying to figure out how to figure out Venice. Number one, make sure you deliver a fridge.
Yeah.
If you deliver her fridge, you're standing here with a chance. And then after you deliver the fridge,
I'm not taking no more
take
fridge
her to meet your mum. And you're done.
I'm not taking no more fridge, guys. So it's flipping time.
But yeah, no. So what's your thoughts? Yeah, so what's your thoughts on the
right. So I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm not gonna lie to you. While Venice was talking, I actually looked at the post like 5 or 6 times in it. Again in it because I think
wasn't listening.
No. I was listening, but what I did is that I looked at the post because initially I said, "Sheps, you know what? Let Venice go first in it," because I was like, you know what? Let me just look at it again in it. So I think for me, what the issue I've got with the post, I've got an issue with the whole turn off thing, which goes turn off, because Venice made a good point, and I think you've made a good point. So the points that you made is, if it's to do with safety, then I can understand to a degree why it'd be a turn-off. But if he's inviting you for a meal, you know what I mean? Because like I said, people do dinner dates at home. Inviting you for a meal is just to eat and have a meal. I don't see anything wrong with that, because I think it's about the guy's intentions on the day. And I think probably what the turn-off is that you think, oh, because he's gonna come to he's invited me to his house, that it's gonna be sex, and you can't have a blanket view that a guy inviting you to his house for, and I know some women are gonna say, oh, you're chatting shit, this and this and this, but I'm just saying that there's some men out there and they will invite you over to the house on a dinner date, and their intention is not to sleep with you. The date is just like any other date, apart from the fact that you're in the house. Do you know what I mean? But even if, like what Venice is saying, if he's at home with his family and he brings you to the house, then that's a serious thing. Now, it may be awkward on a first date to bring her to the house when the family is there, I can understand. It may be awkward, like raw, you know, like mum, dad, sisters there. Do you know what I mean? So I understand that it may be awkward, and you know, it coincides with what Venice is saying, that maybe going outside of the home is more appropriate because actually you get to know the person a bit more differently. But then the other side of it is that if the family is there, there could be an element that, you know what, it's the first date. I may want to show you how serious I am. Do you know what I mean? Like me, I've never brought a girl to my house on a first date. I've never gone and done that. Later on, maybe later on, you know, where it's going down a bit more serious, then I might be like, oh, would you like to come to the house to meet the family? Or she might say, oh, I would like for you to meet mum and dad. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say it's a turn off. I think it's about the arena for me. It's the arena and the intent. That should what tip the scales. I've got an issue with the whole turn off thing. It's not really a turn off. But where I agree with the post is if she's saying, oh, about him, a man should wait. Okay, to a degree, no, she should wait. Maybe to a degree, yes, maybe you might need to hold off a bit and wait a tiny bit. But I also think it's about, if you know the man and he's been speaking to him, get to know him, and you know his intentions, then going to the house really wouldn't be an issue unless the intent is just to get you in bed. Do you know what I mean? So I think it depends on the intent in terms of what the man has for you. Do you know what I mean? And also the arena when you go to the house. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say it's a turn off because, you know, as we spoke earlier, dating is changing. People are doing different things. And, you know, maybe sometimes people might be like, you know what? I'm always taking you out. Let me do something different. Why not go and cook you a nice meal? Let's sit, let's talk. We're not outside, we're inside. Let's talk and have a meal and we'll chat. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we're adults, it's mature, but everyone's thinking, oh, sex. That's where she's saying turn off. And not everyone's thinking about getting into sex, you know, having sex with you on the first date or bringing them to the house and sex. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I've brought girls to the house and, you know, before when there's been no family around and we've watched a movie or we've played on Nintendo Wii, we've played on the PlayStation, we've played Dragon Ball Z. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But I ain't taking you to the bedroom. And
bedtime, everybody go home,
Yeah, I'm trying to say to you. And then after that, I've gone and dropped you home. So I think it's just about the kind of man that you're seeing. Do you know what I mean? So it shouldn't really be a turn off, but you have to be able to kind of make that assessment that he's inviting me to the house, but the kind of guy that I know who he is, and he's saying to you that, oh, I just want to have a dinner date with you, and then after when you finish, I'll drop you back home. Then your intent is pure. But if you're having a blanket view and it's about the guys whereby actually they bring you to the house and they just want to be, that's a separate thing. And then when you've got the safety aspect, then I understand. But if it's not to do with safety and you've just got a blanket view that, oh yeah, when I come to the yard and chill to the crib because he just wants to have sex with me, that's wrong because not all men are like that. So I think for women, my advice is that you have to assess the man. Do you know what I mean? And if you feel that his intention is pure with you, that actually I can take that first step, you know, or big step to go into the house and have a dinner date with him, and we're not going to go and have sex, then there should be no problem with it. But if safety is not an issue, if it's not an issue, do you know what I mean? And you just feel actually, nah, he should be going and taking me out. Oh, nah, I think he's going to be like all that. Then that's wrong. You have to make a proper judgment and you have to separate it. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? That's my take on it. So I don't think you see anything wrong with it, provided that the intent is that I just want to have a normal date with you and that's it. Or it may be that he invites you to the house and maybe the family is there and you never know. The family could be so nice. Your date could be a family meal for first date.
Games night or something,
Games night. And actually, that might even not be your way in, but that might make you even feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm
you're
saying?
good with the family now. Yeah, you're good.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you want to come to the house.
The mum and the dad, you're good.
Oh, come to the house. Oh, we've got Ludo. Come, let's play Ludo together.
Hey,
you know
I
what I'm trying to say? The laugh, innit?
And
No,
now
I'm
you've
saying
got
this,
good
but
credit.
it's something different. You know, sometimes you've got to think outside the box. So it might be nerve-wracking to go to the house and the family's there. But if he said, you know what, mum, dad, yeah, I've got this girl that I'm seeing, and the first date, I want to bring her to the house, you know. I want you, you know, for a first date. And they, unless they say no, if they say yes, oh, I want to invite her to the house, cook her a meal, you know, but we all, you know, you're there. You never know. That might work, innit? It's unorthodox, but it may work. So sometimes you got to try different things. But yeah, it's about the intent of the individual, really, isn't it? So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I like both your takes on it, in all fairness. And I think for me, my issue with the post, unless I've completely read it wrong, it assumes an intent. So what it does, it assumes intent, and to me, that's that lady projecting how she values herself onto men. So it's not about, because immediately from me thinking, if it's a date, I'm not thinking, oh yeah, like let me invite her to my house because then we're gonna have sex, because it doesn't work like that. Like, because you could invite her to the house. What if you don't like her? You're like, you know what the hell am I doing? That what if you invite her to a house and you just like it doesn't, assuming that everything that where it's two people, male and a female, two people, whatever, who's sexually attracted to each other, that every time they meet in an enclosed environment where it's private, that it's going to lead to sexual intercourse. And why I think that's dangerous is because it assumes that all men just want the same thing. And that's not coming from men, that's coming from her projection of and I won't even be surprised if maybe even some of the men that she's dealt with would have or not even approached her in that, but that's what she's picked up, because it shows to me this is what you value, this is what you're looking for.
This is it, Steps. Yeah.
To me, the end goal for you is the bedroom.
And so that's what it is.
Saying, let's do the dates, let's do the whatever else, is to go, oh yeah, you think you can get me that easy. So you're not saying that it's a bad date because of safety. She didn't mention safety once, but she went, oh, if you can't afford to take me out, wait until you can. That's effectively what she said. Like, so I'm now thinking, what? That's pressure on me now because I like you. I'm saying let's do something different, whether it's family, no family, it's dinner. And we literally sit at the dinner table, eat, and then if you feel comfortable enough, we could go watch a movie. And then whatever happens after that. But there's no pressure, there's no intention. The intention is to get to know you. So I personally feel like that post assumes bad intentions. So you're effectively saying all men just want one thing.
Yeah.
And because you're a man, you need to level up if you want to invite me round for dinner. And I don't like that thought, because what you've now done is you've made yourself an object. You've now made yourself a trophy. And now when you get treated like a trophy by other men, you're going to start blaming them when you're the one that done it to yourself. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, this happens all the time where people go out to dinner and still go back to someone's house on the first day.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know, maybe Nana can tell me about that. I don't know, man.
They'll go restaurant.
I've never
gone
on a date and slept with any woman. I've never done that.
So just JD Sports.
Yeah, it might not be you personally, but you might know friends. You might be speaking for a friend on this podcast. Sometimes
Denise, we're gonna have words, you know. I'm just saying, yeah.
Huh?
We're gonna have words. Sheps, don't worry. We're gonna have words, Denise. Isn't it? We're gonna have.
But yeah, no. But I mean, so to me, that's what I got from the post. The fact that it assumes intention, and I'll rather someone. It's just speaking about a specific scenario where she goes, "Oh, this is what I've experienced," or where she says, "This is what I've experienced." If she mentions safety, anything of the sorts, I would. Yeah. I wouldn't be disagreeing. I wouldn't even be bringing it up. But because it assumes intention that all you want from me is my body, so you're gonna have to level up before you can get anywhere near that. Do you think I'm that easy? And to me, that mentality is dangerous, and it's not actually.
That's why I said lack of self-control. If she's got self-control, she wouldn't need to worry about what his intentions are, because your foot is firm. Do you know what I mean?
But I also think, Vinny, she's worried about. But I think it's not just about self-control. It goes back to what Sheps is saying, is how she values herself also. Because if she valued herself, yeah, then she wouldn't think that if he comes back to my heart, that means what he's thinking about me is my body. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that it's also about accountability, and she has to also be accountable for herself as well. Because if a man tries it on you, all you got to say is walk in and leave, innit?
Yeah.
But because of what Shep said, because of where she has stacked herself, she feels that, well, that means actually, well, in my view, how she's taking it is that, well, the price of it is that me going to his yard and chilling, I'm gonna beat. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So,
but you don't know what was said though in between. Like if he was being like hella flirty with her, so she's probably picked up signs and thinking, nah, he wants more than just a date in the house. So there could be other things.
But do you think if he's not gonna try it on, he's not gonna try it on anyway?
Yeah.
So if he's not gonna try it, like, it's like there's cameras in shops, but there's people still rob stuff. Like people know I'm on camera, like I'm being recorded.
Yeah,
like, if
you're still trying to.
That's what you do. Blind spot, you're done. Like, and that's the same with the scenario where if the guy was flirty and he just wanted her for one thing, then he's still gonna try it on, whether you're in Benihana or it's a dinner date. If the guy's genuine, he's not gonna try it on, whether you can be in diamond red light or like it is what it is that being genuine, and that's what I did and like about the post. And it was funny when I done the poll and 86% is just nodding their head agreeing. But I want to see. I might do this poll again after people have watched this and see. Do you still agree?
I think you should. I think you should share.
Wait,
because I think those
poll?
people.
I don't know if you got it. I can't remember.
Nah, but the reason why I think you should do the poll is because I think that what a lot of people tend to do sometimes is that they don't kind of take into account the whole context. I think a lot of them were just assuming that the same undertone is about sex, but no, take the whole context.
Maybe not.
Take the whole context into it, because I think when people post things on social media, they just take it as like a blanket view, but you're gonna have to sometimes broaden your mind, innit? Is it just about sex, or is it about preference, or is it about the intent? There's always additional factors. So a lot of people who went and said no, thought it was about sex, but you didn't think about the other factors in place about intent, and also you just thought it's about getting you into the bedroom. So I'm trying to say to you, you're gonna have to reassess a lot of things. That's my take in it. So I may get a little stick for that.
Yeah, but hold on. But what, your poll that you put up, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone comment? Because was she specific? Like, cause they all, the one that's agreed probably thought the same thing as me. Safety.
Yeah, no, do you know what it is? I put one up on our Facebook as well. And on Facebook, someone did comment and I said why, and they did mention safety. So I still need to reply to that comment, by the way. But yeah, so they did mention safety. So immediately I went, okay, I can't disagree with that. Like,
yeah, safety I always agree with.
When you take your own safety into your hands, I cannot disagree with that.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that one. Yeah.
We need more of that. Like, we actually need more people that consider those things. But because it wasn't mentioning safety in the post, it was more the tone. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You both read it. The tone was more from you need to level up. That you need to level up to get me.
That's how I took it. Yeah, I took it like that. Yeah,
I can't lie. I didn't read it. It's only I only replied on how you said it to me. And I just
maybe I done a bad job of saying it back, but. But do you know what it is? What we do is you've got me on Facebook, comment on the post, and then we'll see if we can get that going.
Definitely. Definitely.
We'll see if we can get that going. But guys, I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate us being here.
Of course, man. Of course.
Before we close out, does anyone have any last words to say about these two topics? And then we'll do the outros. You guys can shout out anything and everything you're doing to support you. But yeah, before we close out, is there anyone that has got anything else to add or anything they wanted to discuss with regards to these two topics that we touched on?
I think that women need to do a lot more better, I think, on how they are when it comes towards men. I feel like a lot of us can be wives if we just act a certain way. I feel like women should stop valuing money. Yeah, it's like I said before, that it's nice if a man can do well. You would want a man to do well and stuff. But I feel like, me personally, I would respect. I know time doesn't pay the bills. We can all admit that. But I feel like in the beginning stages, time is really important because you actually get to know a person to see if they're actually worth any more time than that, and whatever else in the future. And with the whole other topic that we discussed, I don't think there's anything wrong if you go to a guy's house for the first time if safety's not involved and stuff. I feel like if you go to his house and his family's there, that's a good sign. You actually get to see how a man lives, because usually it's the man coming to the woman's house, so so he sees how she lives, but you may never see how he lives because it may never get to that stage. So I feel like, yeah, it's a good sign that you may be the only person going to his house, viewing his family, getting to know. So that's a really good look. And yeah, we all got white teeth, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah,
Joking.
yeah, we do, man. We
Colgate,
do,
gang,
man.
I've been telling you guys,
Colgate,
yeah.
man.
That's too funny. Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Nana. Take on your final thoughts.
Yeah, no. In terms of me, I have to agree with Venice. And I'm gonna get stick for it, but I think that not all women, but some women need to be a lot more accountable with the decisions that they're making and the kind of men that they're choosing, and the kind of men that they're choosing and the response that they're getting. If you're choosing a certain lifestyle from a certain type of man who's flashing all those sorts of things, you have to be not liable, but you have to accept what comes with it. I think some women also need to not measure materialism and equate that to a relationship. I think some women need to actually go back to the basics and start looking at men in the sense of more of their personalities, their contributions, and how they present themselves, and looking more at their characteristics rather than their bank account. That is what they need to be doing. That's a sign of a mature woman, as Venice said, who can potentially be a wife. I think the glitz and the glamour and the social media and the posts and the likes are all very short term and are not going to go and get you anywhere in the long term, because when we're old, crusty and grey, all these things would be a myth and a thing in the past. So I think if you do want a man who's sincere and genuine, you need to not follow the trend on social media. Be true to your core values and yourself. Do you know what I mean? And not what's posted out on the gram, because that's, like I said before, yes, it's real life, but it's not real life. Do you know what I mean? So dial it down. Yeah. And also in terms of the men as well, I think the men also have to be comfortable in being themselves. And as we mentioned earlier, having your own blueprint that you can be proud of and that you can present to a woman, whether you're dating her or in a relationship with. It's not, I know the way the world is for men, that yes, and in terms of the patriarchal system, that it's important for us to have all our shit together because we kind of perceive that as being kind of the standard in terms of being able to court a woman. But we are all, I think everybody, men and women alike, I see ourselves as houses in the sense that we all have to start with just the water and the cement and then start building ourselves. And when you meet someone, we're not going to meet somebody who's already made. It's all a process. And for men, we have to accept that it's still a process. If we're not up there, it's a process. And that when you are kind of courting a woman, or you're seeing a woman, or you're going on dates, that be honest about what you're doing. I'm not saying don't have your foundation, but be honest in terms of what you're doing and where you hope to go. And if that woman is genuine, she will go with you on it. Do you know what I mean? The way I see sometimes dating something, it's like football. Yes, sometimes people are out of each other's league, but at the same time, people get promoted and demoted all the time, innit? It's part of life, innit? But it's about who's willing to go on with you on that journey from being in relegation to getting promoted and just being consistent. That's what it's about. And I know that's a weird analogy, but the point I'm trying to make is that for men, just be yourself, yeah. And the way to impress a woman is sometimes it's not fire your car or your flash. Less is more, and just be yourself. And for women, be a lot more accountable. You know, and that's what it is, really. That's my thing to wrap up.
Fantastic, guys. I can't. Do you know what it is? After those two, I don't think I could go after that. I think I just have to leave it like that and let the people marinate on those words. Like, I've run out of links. Otherwise, I'd have popped another links for both of you, but I think we're running out of links. So I'm actually going to get the next one. I might have to go get another one. But yeah, guys, just before we go, shout out your socials. Where can people find you? Is there anything else that you're doing that you want people to be aware of as well? This is your opportunity to talk to the people. We'll start with Vanessa and finish off with Nana.
Yeah, so I'm going to let Nana do our thing, but can I shout out my business, please?
Go for it.
I am a designer. I design bags, Medina London Suave, Skater Boy, and streetwear. Thank you also, Japhed, for helping me. Do you remember when we sat there?
Yeah.
Going through the names.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But yes, I design duffel bags, handbags, and backpacks for 3 different collections, like I mentioned earlier. I have my website out. You can buy my products through Etsy. If you go on the Medina London store, Medina is spelled like Medina, the London store. You can purchase some of my bags. If you'd like to be a model, please DM me from the Medina London store account. Yes.
Nana, take us away.
That's brilliant. So, guys, I am one half of Medina Talk Yabi. You know, we do our talks every week during the week, and we talk about everything and anything. So please follow us at Medina_talk_Yabi on our Instagram. Do follow myself. It's at Akwasi Yabi, or Venice at designer. Is it FML, isn't it? At designer.
Of ML.
Of
OF. Designer of ML.
Yeah.
On F.
Yeah. So please follow us. The Faces Podcast will share that, but please follow us. Like I said, we're all about positivity, jokes, and bands, and we're given a different kind of perspective. And also, I'm part of another initiative called Black Hype Crew, which is at B Hype Crew. And what we're doing is we're trying to create a different kind of narrative. So once a month, we've been going on hikes, and it's about kind of making a change within the community. With a lot that's happened throughout the pandemic, we've mentioned about, George Floyd. We're trying to put a different narrative out there. So if you would like to join, follow our Instagram page at Hype Crew. And if you would like to kind of come and reserve a place, it's email bhypecrew at gmail.com. So those are the things that I'm part of. But I have to a big shout out to the Faceless Podcast. Thank you so much for having us today. Yeah. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. You have to, guys, follow the Faces Podcast. Yeah. And please also follow at Medina London store. I cannot stress it enough as well. Yeah. My wonderful, beautiful partner,
thank you.
Venice. Yeah, she's doing very well. And I want everyone to continue to support on her journey. What she's doing is amazing. What the Faceless Podcast doing is amazing. You know what I mean? So guys, just show as much support to these two powerful individuals as possible all the way, please. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Well, guys, that has it. I was about to shed a tear, but I haven't cracked until 7. But yeah, I'll put all the socials. You already know my socials, Faces Podcast. I'll put everything in the comment section below. Please do check them out, guys. They've got some very interesting topics, especially the lives as well, and they are very interactive. You can ask questions. So to all my American guys out there, if you want a British perspective on some of the topics that you're seeing happening in America, do follow them at Medina Talk. Yeah, I'll put it all in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you guys' comments. Do you disagree with us? Were we talking nonsense? Were we talking the truth? I look forward to reading it all and seeing it all. And I'm sure this is the first of many collaborations between
100%. This ain't the last, man. This ain't the last, bro.
And we'll definitely have more. So if you like this format and you want to see more of Nana, Vanessa, myself, I'll pin a comment and just like it. And then what that tells us
next week Monday still.
Yeah, all that tells us is we need
same as well,
we need to get a move on. So I'll be on their platform as well. I might join in on one of the lives, just depending on how that kind of works out, how we could get that sorted out. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before you finish this video, you know the drill. You scroll up, you hit the like, you hit the subscribe, hit the notifications. I go by the name of Shepherd. My friends call me Sheps. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Faceless Podcast. I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.
Take care, guys.